Kwame Boateng spent 4 years believing he understood money. He paid every bill on time. He never bounced a check. He was, by every measure he knew to use, responsible, until the December afternoon, a graduate advisor slid a printout across a desk, and he saw for the first time what responsible had actually been costing him. This is not that afternoon yet. This is 3.5 years before it, in a dorm room that still smelled like fresh paint, where a boy named Kwame was unpacking a single suitcase and a laptop his mother had paid for in cash. He was the first person in his family to go to college. Everyone told him the hard part was getting in. Nobody told him what happened after. On the third day, there was a table outside the dining hall, a banner, a bowl of candy. A young man in a polo shirt said the words, "free T-shirt," and "just for emergencies" in the same sentence. And Kwame signed something he did not read past the first paragraph. He did not know yet that a number called APR was sitting quietly inside that paper, waiting. What Kwame believed that first semester was simple. If a bank offered it to him, it must be fine. If it showed up in his aid package, someone official must have already decided it was safe. Nobody had ever sat him down and explained the difference between debt that builds something and debt that just waits to be paid back with interest attached, so the card became normal. A late-night pizza here, a laptop charger there, a flight home for Thanksgiving when the bus tickets sold out. Small charges, reasonable charges, the kind that never felt like debt because they never felt like much of anything at all. By spring, the balance had a shape of its own. He paid the minimum every month, always on time, always proud of that, and watched the number barely move. He did not understand, not yet, that the minimum payment was mostly just feeding interest, that somewhere behind the screen, his debt had quietly gone to work. A second job, running all night, every night, and he was the one paying its salary. But here is what Kwame did not know yet, what none of his friends knew either, because none of them had been taught this, because somehow, in 13 years of school, nobody had ever spent one class period on what a balance actually does while you sleep. Sophomore year, he applied for a second card. Better rewards, he told himself. More responsible use, he told himself. He was doing what everyone around him seemed to be doing. It did not occur to him that everyone around him might be just as lost as he was. He sat down at a folding table in the financial aid office on a Tuesday in October, expecting a 5-minute conversation about a scholarship form. Instead, a woman named Ms. Odom looked at the numbers on his account, went quiet for a moment, and reached for a blank sheet of paper. She did not lecture him. She wrote 2 numbers, side by side. One was what he currently owed. The other was what that balance would actually cost him by graduation at his current payments, if nothing changed. She slid the paper across the desk and said only, "This is the part they don't put on the acceptance letter." Kwame stared at the second number for a long time. That night, he sat on the floor of his dorm room, back against the bed, the paper still in his hand. He thought about his mother, who had worked 2 jobs so he would not have to think about money the way she had thought about money her entire life. He thought about the version of himself who had signed that first form outside the dining hall. So proud, so sure he was handling it. He sat there a long time, not fixing anything, not making a plan yet, just letting the number be true. Then quietly, without any music swelling in his head, without a speech, he stood up. He opened his laptop. He started reading. The old voice showed up first. It said, "You're already behind. You're the one who's supposed to have it figured out. What's the point now?" Kwame sat with that voice for a minute, Then he opened a budgeting app anyway and typed in the real number. The weeks that followed were not dramatic. Day 3, his roommate laughed at him for bringing lunch instead of ordering out. Day 9, he almost swiped the second card out of habit at a gas station and stopped his own hand halfway to the counter. Day 16, his mother asked if everything was okay, and he almost lied, and then told her the truth instead. Day 22, he made his first payment above the minimum, $40 extra, and felt for the first time in over a year like the number had actually moved. Here is the truth this video was always circling. The best time to learn about money is before you need it, not after the bill arrives. 3 years later, Kwame sat at that same folding table. On the other side of it now, a student aid volunteer, watching a freshman sign up for orientation. He kept a blank sheet of paper in his folder, not because anyone told him to, because he remembered exactly what it felt like to need one and not have it. There is something about carrying a number like that for a while, and then one ordinary Tuesday, deciding to hand someone else the paper before they need it as badly as you did. Nobody announces it. You just start keeping a blank sheet in your folder just in case. If this story reminded you of a version of yourself or someone you're sending off to college soon, there are more stories like it here. Subscribe.